In this video, we will be covering how to assemble the board with the parts previously discussed. Here we have an unpopulated board, and here is a populated board. Now this is one approach. The first thing you want to solder on is usually the ESP node MCU. Note the orientation. The node MCU must go on like this, not like this. As an aid to help align it right, you can note the similar characteristics. The antenna is on the left here, and the antenna is also on the left on this board. Therefore, the board must go like this. There are two methods to solder this on. You see this one has sockets, and so the ESP can be removed from these sockets. Another option is to simply solder the ESP directly onto the board. This option may be best because it'll cast less shadow from these LEDs. So soldering it directly has the pros of giving greater light dissipation, but it also has the disadvantage of not being able to easily remove the node MCU. The next thing to solder on would be these 3 screw terminals and the socket to put the Pololu power converter. Those can be broken off. The socket for the Pololu power converter can be broken off of this using our wire cutters. The next thing we would want to do, and that socket would be placed here in those 5 small terminals. Do not put them in these 3 up here. The next thing that we would put is the 3-hole screw terminal. That sits on the right 3 terminals. And note that the opening must face this hole here. That is so that the wires can come through the back plate at temple view and go through the hole in the actual back plate. This will make it so that the wires can come through cleanly, attach here, and then the cover can easily be placed on the front. So now we have the ESP soldered on, like this. We have the socket soldered on for the Pololu converter, the 3 screw terminals for the power and ground, and then the last thing to solder on are the 12 millifarad 25 volt rating capacitors. Note the 2 white patches, those are the grounds. The grounds are these white strips on the capacitor. They must be aligned as such. If they are not, it will break the capacitors and the circuit will not work. And then the actual last thing to solder in are the 6 test point terminals. There are 6 terminals on this. 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In these boards, we don't have them soldered in yet, but all you have to do is cut them off using your wire cutters, cup it so it doesn't fly, and then these can be placed in each of the individual terminals, flip the board to the other side, and solder it in the back. And that is all you have to do to get this completed board.